she is. Teresa, you're
Okay.
You're our special guest today on Positive Pros. Do you want to do this now, or should we give it another 15 minutes?
No, I'm good. Let's roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. We're live now, and Positive Pros is a series that we're doing for Freebridge Realty during our pandemic time here. And what we're doing is we're inviting professionals that are related to the real estate industry and joining us for a live stream so that we can hear about what's going on in their industry. So today we welcome you, Teresa. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
We'll all give you a warm welcome. And
all right, and I see that I have a couple of people who joined who
awesome.
are likely going to bust me later.
We have a question and answer time, so.
Okay, we'll open it up for question and answer. Because I'm prepared. I'm sitting here in my new home office, which we all have probably really become familiar with in the last 3 weeks or more as we hunker down.
So your website says that your law office, HoganLawPA.com, it says a tradition of trust since 1928, and you're definitely not 92 years old. So what?
Oh, I am. Don't I look great for 92?
You look amazing.
So the reason why it says since 1928 is that's when my grandfather Charlie Hogan founded the firm, and my uncle has since passed away. So that's where the 1928 comes, not because I'm married to a hairdresser who makes me look really good for 92.
So with Governor Wolf's order to shelter at home, are you considered as an essential worker, or are you closed?
No.
Semi-closed, or?
I am not an essential worker. So lawyers are considered essential for certain matters. We are permitted to work remotely, and we are permitted to go to our offices strictly to pick up files, and the governor used the word, pick up files expeditiously, and then to leave. So we are working remotely. We are meeting with clients remotely, and whether by video conference or by telephone, using email and Zoom and all those other platforms that so many other people are using.
So how else has this order changed your business?
Well, it has affected lawyers tremendously. It's not a profession where virtual realities are very comfortable. The best way to help our clients is to be able to meet with them, see them eyeball to eyeball, really know what's going on with them and what they need. So we've had to adjust as a profession rather rapidly as others have, but we are able to do it. The governor's office published the most recent order last week, which allows for remote notarization, which is different than e-notarization. So that means that we can execute estate planning documents that require notarization, and they generally do, as well as land transactions. So we can do, and I know you've been able to do this through Freebridge Realty. We can do a settlement using e-notarization as well as remote notarization, using wire funds, using curbside settlements, those sorts of things. But what's making it difficult to do those things is that municipalities are shut down. And so you've probably run into this yourself. We can get agreements. It's great for our clients. You know, they're selling real estate using Freebridge Realty, and Freebridge Realty always finds a buyer fast. So we can get an agreement of sale, but past that, we're at the control of others, and that is municipal inspections are required. Lenders are having a difficult time making transactions work.
I think the appraisers are now no longer visiting properties too, so that's making things interesting as well.
So yeah, you're seeing it on your end. So even as well as we can adjust, we're still kind of at the mercy of third parties who help us in these transactions. And likewise in estate plan, we have clients in nursing homes who are now locked down, and we are absolutely forbidden from going there. Nor would we want to go there. It's just too risky for them.
Right.
So we have worked with social worker offices within the nursing homes to set up video web conferences. And so we can mail documents, we can speak to our clients, we can mail documents there. The social worker coordinates the signing, and we can now, with Governor Wolf's most recent order, we can actually remotely notarize those required documents. The difficulty more is with folks who are sick or in urgent need of estate planning. They're at home, because one of the things that wasn't addressed by Governor Wolf's order was the witnessing of these documents. So it's not as much a problem in land transactions, but if we need a power of attorney for someone to be able to close on the sale of their house because they're sick, we cannot have family members who might be named in that document as an agent witness that.
Could someone else, I guess if it's not a nursing home, there's really nobody else there.
It's pretty tough. Yeah, it's pretty tough. So sometimes there's an in-law, maybe as a daughter's husband or something like that. So, and the elderly clients are less comfortable with the video process. They're getting used to it like we are, but
I'm not
it's
comfortable
effective.
with it myself.
Yeah, right. So we're trying to get our clients past it so that we can get business done, but it has definitely slowed life at Hogan Law.
Yeah, our boutique real estate brokerage was able to settle the last of the Mohicans that were under agreement. We worked very hard at the first quarter, and of course that sales cycle takes 2-3 months, maybe even longer. And I saw the bill was signed for e-notarization, but I don't think the certification process is totally there, like for existing notaries to go through that.
Well, you're correct. It's to become a remote notary, just because you're a notary doesn't mean you can do it remotely or electronically. You have to use a particular platform, which is not Zoom. And it's in fact the platforms that they've approved are relatively unknown to most people. Plus, you have to then submit. It's not a terribly difficult process, but it's not a slam dunk, and you have to get approved as an e-notary or a remote notary. Not just that your regular commission does not allow you to do it, and you can only notarize signatures remotely of people who are within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Okay, so like if your property is in New Jersey, or you're physically in New Jersey and your property's here, that wouldn't fly. Okay.
You have to have New Jersey they're working, I'm not quite sure the status of this, but I think you can do a remote notarization in New Jersey.
I think the bill was on Governor Murphy's desk, so maybe he signed it by now, but same thing, now we have to have notaries ramping up to get that new certification, I guess.
I see a question from Angie. What are the platforms one can use for e-notary, and did they explain why? No, they didn't explain why. And I have to look at I didn't recognize any of the platforms, Andrew. It's interesting, and I'll look at them, and I'll let you know, cybersecurity guy.
Yeah, so right now with our real estate brokerage, because we have that 2 to 3 month sale process, just in finding buyers or finding new sellers, new listings, with everything coming to a stop, I'm getting a little concerned about what's coming up in the next few months for our business in its entirety. Does that affect your business as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're in phase one of this, and it feels heavy, and it feels like, how are we ever going to get through this, and how are we going to get things done? And but we should all be kind of focusing on phase three. Phase two is when we come out of it and businesses start ramping up. But if we're smart and we use our time now, if we focus on phase three and what the quote, to overuse the term new normal, what it's really going to look like for real estate transactions, and what's it really going to look like for lawyers and law offices, and start gearing up for that so that we can really serve our clients. Because as this starts to unwind, I think you're going to see a huge uptick, Ellen, in people who are now going to list their properties. For a couple of reasons. A lot of people are being economically affected by the shutdown.
Yeah.
And this changes the way they're thinking, and they're thinking, I don't want this expense, and I need to retire now. A lot of people will not be joining back into the workforce. You'll see workers over the age of 58 who are saying, okay, I'm not going back.
Early retirement.
Right. And so they're going to be, I think you're going to see huge uptick in people wanting to sell their properties. And so if real estate brokers and people who do work in that regard are looking ahead, be prepared in new ways to reach out to them, to reach out to those people, and to be ready, so that you're on the front line.
Yeah, I mean, we were just going gangbusters. I think we had probably the best, the strongest quarter we've ever had as a boutique brokerage. And, I mean, thank God. And so I'm curious to see what happens with home prices, because we were just on this upward trajectory and this very low inventory market. So it'll be very interesting to see once we start, relieving all of the stay at home and getting back into society again and showing. And
I think it might actually regulate the market a bit, right? So it'll be less of a seller's market, so it's better for buyers and not horrible for sellers.
Right.
I think buyers will come back out of this, and they'll have a new view of how they want to prepare for the long term. I don't think it's going to hurt the buyers at all. I really do think it'll just be actually, it's horrible to say that a pandemic was necessary on such a great scale to sort of flatten out the market a little bit.
Yeah,
because
it's sort of a correction once again, and it's interesting that it's around 8 years or 10 years from the last, the loan disaster.
Yeah, 2008.
Market.
What's Andrew's question there? For both of your professions and the effects that are imminent, what will be the end effect for your clients, the tangible effects for them? I don't know if you agree with me, Ellen, but I can tell you that the tangible effects for my clients are that we will be able to deliver legal services in a much better way, less expensive way, and a much more expeditiously. Because now that
video conferencing, it's a whole new additional offering for you now.
It really is, and both from a real estate perspective. I mean, your profession, the real estate professional industry was already well into the e-signing mode.
Yes, we know that. You've been using it. It's made things so much easier. People are in 2 different locations and they have to get things signed.
Right. And lawyers were less comfortable with that. This has forced our profession to let go of some old ways that old but good, but maybe a little archaic. And the silver lining, I think, for our profession is that our clients will be able to get legal services quickly and for less.
Anything else you want to add about how your law office has been pivoting?
Yeah, we're pivoting, and we are pivoting, and we're and it's ongoing process. And I have spent, I think, maybe 80% of my days right now on webinars, just to be aware of what's happening. Our clients a lot of our business clients are profoundly affected economically, and whether or not they've been shut down or whether or not they've lost employees or to the illness. And so we have kept educated on the CARES Act, and all of those things and how they affect our business clients. And now is a very good time, and Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is online, so is the federal government. We have started several businesses within the last couple of weeks that are geared towards the needs that have arisen. A medical device consulting firm, and we can start new businesses and get going very quickly now. And so we've learned that the government is adapting too. Yeah, they're a little slow in processing the unemployment compensation benefits for those employees who have been laid off, because it's unprecedented. So our employers.
It's pretty amazing how quickly things have happened. I have to say overall.
Yeah. I'm not sure, Andrew. I'm looking at a client. Are you looking at a question? For both of the effects that are imminent, what will be the end effect for our clients? I think that this pandemic and the shutdown will, not just in terms of how it will affect their relationship with their lawyers and their real estate brokers. I think that our clients will come back eventually, but it is going to be a very, very difficult 18 months once things are up and running. And it'll affect our clients economically very badly. I don't want to be a doomsayer. But they can mitigate that by thinking about and changing who their clients are or who their customer is, and being proactive in that. So
we see a lot of that happening with restaurants where they're doing these curbside, services, or offering, a totally different takeaway food product than having people inside. So
yeah, that was the industry that I think that you might say got hit the hardest. All of the workers there tend to be independent contractors, gig workers. Of course, the government is trying to answer to that during this, but restaurant owners themselves, are hit, and so they were very hardest hit, but very quick to try to adapt. You look at the Eastern Public Market downtown. All of those vendors quickly adapted, and now there isn't one thing you can't get curbside. And so and I think that the end effect they'll continue to do that after this.
It's been a really good adjustment, like very quickly, like you said.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good coming out of it, and I think the end effect of our clients will be difficult, but it'll adjust, within a year to 18 months, and as long as my clients and our clientele are willing to adapt, and adjust.
Somebody is asking or mentioning that a sole proprietor can file for unemployment. I think that is part of the CARES, but the issue is that the state only has a portal for existing unemployment, so they'll have to create a whole new one for this.
That's exactly right. I don't know, Ellen, if you were on Congresswoman Wild's update yesterday. Yeah, she's right. If you, it's a state process program, although the funding is coming federally.
So they need to build a new portal for that.
And Governor Wolf believes that it will be, and I think Congresswoman Wild reported that Governor Wolf felt that would be up and running by this week.
Oh, that's
so
quick.
Yeah. So I see the question. I think it's from Josie Swiss. Hi, Josie. Yeah, I will keep you posted. And send out when that is ready, because if you apply now, will really screw it up. They are not ready. By the way, just so you know, and the way you'll be able to tell if you're checking the Department of Labor's website, it's called Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. So it's different than, it's a totally different program than unemployment compensation. It's called Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, or PUA.
Okay, good to know.
Yep. So when that's ready, that's what it'll look like. It's going to be a button on the .gov site that handles that. But once you apply for that, and Josie, you would be eligible to do this with your business. Once you apply for that, and then Pennsylvania, awards you those benefits, the automatic additional federal $600 per week will come along with that. There's nothing more you need to do. So, same with employees who are applying for unemployment. They'll start getting their $600 a week checks this week.
Now, does that include folks that are kind of, being paid under the table with tips or whatever?
Those are called, gig workers. Yes. Okay. So unemployment and gig workers will get pandemic or can apply for pandemic unemployment assistance.
Innovative Interiors is excited about that.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to mention about how you've been adjusting with your law business?
I don't know. I think I covered it. And all I can say is that we're here, and our phone log is and my staff is fully working. My phone log is checked several times a day, and we get back to our calls as soon as we can. And so that even if you have an emergency, we'll be able to do it. But especially if you want to start talking now about what you want to do when this all starts to alleviate, we're ready for you.
I have your website here, HoganLawPA.com, and your office phone. Very helpful tips. So thank you very much, Theresa, for joining us today.
Thanks, Ellen.
Also, I just want to put a shout out to all of the frontline workers, of course, everyone in the hospitals, first responders, the testing centers, and the grocery store workers, warehouse workers, post office workers, and everybody out there that's doing the curbside and deliveries. So
absolutely.
Wonderful Easter, everybody, and if you celebrate, or Passover, or Ramadan, all of the above.
All right.
And thanks again for being our positive pro today, Theresa Hogan.
We got this, and we got you.
All right.